everybody, it's Nova back with another episode of Cork and Curated, and today we're going to be exploring Uncle Nearest 1884. Okay, you all, so today we are getting into the world of whiskey. We're going to be sampling Uncle Nearest 1884 small batch, and I've actually never tried this brand before, so we're going to be trying it together. Even though I love sampling the spirits, I think one of my favorite parts about doing this series is learning about it, doing all the research that I can about the brand. And I can't wait to share with you what I found out. This is actually a Black-owned brand, okay? I've heard about it like here and there on Twitter. So I said, you know what, why don't we try it? So let's dive right into what we learned about it. Yeah, I'm actually really impressed. So the brand was founded in 2016 by Mrs. Fawn Weaver. She is, how you would say, a serial entrepreneur. And the way that she learned about Uncle Nearest, which is a real person, is that she was on a trip in Singapore with her husband, and the New York Times actually wrote an article about Uncle Nearest, or Nathan Green, who was the man responsible for showing Jack Daniels how to distill whiskey. So that caught her eye, and once she learned about that, she decided to dig deeper into it. When she came back, she started doing more research about it, and the story has it that Nathan Green, former slave, he from Lynchburg, Tennessee, okay, so he was making whiskey behind the farm of Dan Call, who is a reverend. He was a Lutheran preacher. You already know he had his little side hustle. So in the back of his farm, he had a whiskey distillery. And at the time, Nathan Green was enslaved, and this was what he was doing. So obviously, Reverend Call wasn't averse to operating a whiskey still behind his farmhouse. And Nathan Green, or Uncle Nearest, that was his moniker, his nickname, was basically the master distiller behind that. Then Jack Daniels comes into the picture because Jack, or Jasper, he was an orphan, and he started working at the farm. So a lot of people would naturally think that Jack Daniels probably stole the process, but they were actually friends. What happened was Uncle Nearest took Jack under his wing and started to show him how to do it. So they honestly became partners. After some years, Jasper ended up buying the farm and the distillery, and they worked together for a really long time. So I thought that was crazy. I was like, I had no idea. But instead of adversaries, they were actually friends. Obviously, Uncle Nearest, he just didn't have the means or, to be able to branch out to his own brand. He was the one that taught Jack Daniels how to distill, and Mrs. Fawn Weaver basically learned about this and said, you know what, I want to dig even deeper. So she actually went to Lynchburg, Tennessee, okay? She went to this farm, she started reaching out to historians, some of his descendants, and this is how the brand came to be. And what I really love about it is that she didn't just take what she learned about this and just run with it. She basically employed his descendants. And to this day, the master blender, Mrs. Victoria Eady Butler, is one of the descendants of Uncle Nearest, and she is responsible for curating all the batches of the whiskey. So I think that was so fire. Women empowering other women. So I was just really impressed. They have a distillery right now that they're still expanding out in Tennessee. Hopefully one day we can go visit it and try all the different variants, because this is just one of 7. Small batch, meaning that they literally make it in small batches. And if you look on the bottle, it says V. Eady Butler. And I was actually reading an article where she said, and I quote, "When people drink 1884, they're drinking what I desire. Fortunately, it has worked out that the people like what I like." So Mrs. Butler didn't even have any experience distilling. She worked at the Department of Justice. So once she met Mrs. Weaver, she said, you know what, why don't you just try to distill some? Why don't you try to curate it? And she just was good at it, obviously, because it was in her blood. So after she distilled the 1884, or blended it, she basically won Master Blender of the Year by Whiskey Magazine 2 years in a row, 2021 and 2022, as well as receiving the same honor from the Spirits Business and Wine Pair in 2021. So this woman who had both of them actually had no experience in whiskey, distilling, blending, and now look, Master Blender of the Year 2 times in a row. So I think that's so fire. And the power of women, Black women empowering each other, and the fact that Mrs. Weaver basically just used her resources to empower the family. Yeah, she wanted to keep it in the family. She included them. And now Victoria Eady Butler is the master blender for all of the variants here. So I thought that was so fire. That was so much fun learning about that. So like I said, 7 different variants, 1884. There's some other ones. If you check out the website is so cool. You'll see the story behind it. The bottle is 93 proof. So that's basically, when it says proof, it's double the alcohol content by volume. So even though it's 93 proof, that means in the bottle it's maybe about 43.5% liquor. So that was another thing. We'll talk about that in another episode. But yeah, so obviously it's pretty strong. I was just really impressed. I had no idea that it was Black owned in this way. They also have a lot of philanthropy going on. They have the Nearest Green Legacy Scholarship. And basically this scholarship awards descendants of Nearest Green with financial aid. So basically she's looking out for his whole family with this scholarship. Anybody that is a direct descendant of Uncle Nearest can apply for the scholarship. And for the people that are not a part of the family, they have the Nearest and Jack Advancement Initiative. So again, tying back to the fact that Jack Daniels and Uncle Nearest weren't adversaries, they were friends. So this initiative allows Weaver and her team to further their passion for education, help other African American spirit owners to hone in on their skills. So I think that's so dope. They're just really doing a damn thing, and I'm loving to see it, and I can't wait to, do some more research and see how they plan to further things. So without further ado, I think we should just really get into it. Like I said, learning about it was really exciting for me. There's so much more to share, but that's the meat and potatoes of it. I really appreciate now learning that, Jack Daniels in a way did not steal, the process from him. And also it's to be said that Nathan Green basically became known for the Lincoln County process, where whiskey is filtered through sugar maple charcoal prior to aging in charred oak barrels. So he basically was known for starting this process. It's crazy. So interesting. People doing it again, and obviously this is all brought into fruition by Black women. So shout out to Mrs. Weaver and Mrs. Eady Butler, and hopefully I get to meet them in the future. Let's get to tasting. All right, so now to the second fun part. Even though you see I love doing some research, we're going to try it. Love that it has a cork, so it's easy to close back again. I'll just read a little bit of what's on the back of the bottle. It says, Uncle Nearest 1884 continues the remarkable legacy of Tennessee distilling legend Nearest Green, which we went over, the first known African-American master distiller. Each batch is curated by his great-great-granddaughter, Whiskey Magazine's 2021 Master Blender of the Year, Victoria Eady Butler. Utilizing the process of maple charcoal mellowing that Nearest helped perfect over 160 years ago, 1884 delivers a whiskey that is as smooth as it is complex. So basically what we learned about. Excited to try it. There's always notes and stuff online. We've talked about how notes, they don't actually put certain fruits into these things. It's just basically what's you can compare it to based off of what you've already tasted. So when they say there's like notes of apple, it's like maybe it is reminiscent of apple, etc., etc. It smells fruity. I don't know. It's like apricot. I don't know if I'm bugging, but that's what I smell. Yeah, it smells really sweet. It doesn't have a pungent like alcohol smell. It's like you almost don't even smell any alcohol. So we have our cute little whiskey glass. I'm just gonna pour just a little slither. Swirl it around. Okay, now that it's opened up out of the bottle, now I can smell the alcohol vapors coming up. Well, let's try it. Cheers. Okay. It does burn a little. It is a little strong, but it is good. Okay. Okay, I like it. And I've recently been I've been on a tequila kick, but back in my heyday, it was a lot of cognac. Now I'm getting into whiskey, so this is really good. This is good neat. So I could drink it neat, but yeah, but it'll put a few hairs on your chest. I ain't gonna hold you. All right, I like it. I feel like this is a real grown folks drink. When your man come home from work, have a nice little glass like this, like, yeah, baby. Yo. All right. Shout out to Miss Eady Butler. This is strong, but I do like it. It does burn. It make me feel like whatever sickness I might be having, that's gonna clear that shit right out. So, and again, this is just one of the variants. This is the 1884, and I picked this small batch one. I don't know what made me pick this one, to be honest with you, but I'm glad I did because, like I'd mentioned, Miss Butler mentioned that when you're tasting 1884, you're tasting what she likes. So if I'm thinking she's strong, assertive, you know what I'm saying, not taking no mess from nobody, and I'm particularly touched by her story in that she didn't know anything about distilling or blending, and now she's a master blender, which is a testament that you really could do whatever you want to do. And I really appreciate, you know, Mrs. Weaver allowing her the resources and opportunity to do so. So lovely. This is something I would drink again. Definitely want to put this on the shelf. And they have a lot of really cute drinks that you could try. So maybe we can try one of their mimosa. It's called the Grown Folks Mimosa. So let's get into that. But neat. I really like it. I really enjoy it. It is strong on the first go down, but I think maybe it's because it's meant for you to take your time drinking it. Like, it's not like something where you would just throw it back. Like I said, a grown folks drink where you sip and take your time, and whatever ailments is going through your body is just gonna burn it out. I don't even know if that's the thing, but cheers. Shout out to the people at Uncle Nearest. Shout out to 1884, and we're gonna manifest that I meet these women and we can take a walk through the distillery one day in Tennessee. So stay tuned. We will be making the Grown Folk Mimosa, but also any of you in the comments, if you know anything more about the Uncle Nearest brand, please definitely leave your comments, you know, your drink, your mixology things. If some of you bartenders are used to using this to make drinks, any new information, please like, comment, subscribe. We want to hear from you. Thanks for tuning into this episode of Cork and Curated. Drink responsibly. We'll see you guys soon.